They're not just the richest family in the world. They're the sons and daughters of Lucifer, more or less the counterfeit of what Jesus Christ was when he was on the earth.
George took you and Roland to this mansion where people worshipped the demons.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like there? What kind of people were there?
They were all professionals, doctors, attorneys. See what they had? They had a praise session to the gods, which are in charge of legions of demon spirits.
When you get up into a higher level, you find out that the power rests with blood sacrifice. You are proving to Satan through the blood and the death of this person that you are sold totally out to him. And so every step you go up the ladder, everything you've been told before is a lie, and all of a sudden you learn new truth.
Today marks the 5-year anniversary of a West Memphis murder case that gained national attention. The bodies of 3 second graders, Stephen Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore, were found mutilated in a ditch. Now, one of the 3 men convicted for the murders, Damian Eccles, has prompted a hearing to try to get his conviction thrown out.
4 years ago, an Arkansas jury found him guilty of murdering 3 second graders in a horrific, ritualistic sacrifice.
Police theorize the murders had been part of a satanic ritual.
Damian Eccles, then 19, was sentenced to death. Jason Baldwin, who was 16, and Jesse Miss Kelly, 17, were given life sentences.
Mike Allen was the first detective to find one of the victims.
My personal opinion, I think these 3 individuals are child killers.
You have to look at the facts, and the facts are the 3 that we arrested and that have been convicted are the ones that did this.
DNA evidence and Johnny Depp, the 3 convicts you're about to meet, had both on their side, and that proved to be enough to set them free from prison today.
How can you be absolutely sure that these 3 men are innocent?
If there was the tiniest sliver of doubt, I wouldn't be sitting here.
They couldn't go anywhere, they couldn't do anything without speculation on who was cheating on who and who was seeing who. And
Film star River Phoenix died early today outside a popular West Hollywood nightclub.
Johnny renamed the night spot the Viper Room. On Halloween night 1993, actor River Phoenix showed up at the club.
A Black Sabbath is a witch's Sabbath. It comes 8 times a year. Halloween is Shayham. It's more or less their big party day. Now, if they're in the human sacrifice, they also do human sacrifice at the time.
On Halloween night 1993, actor River Phoenix showed up at the club.
Inside the Viper Room, River has just taken a massive overdose of cocaine and heroin. Toxicologist Dan Anderson later analyzed River's blood.
There was so much cocaine there, it's astronomical. It's 8 times what we consider lethal.
While Johnny played with his band on stage, moments later, Phoenix walked outside onto Sunset Boulevard. He collapsed on the sidewalk and died.
I think Johnny was very angry at the way the media handled River Phoenix's death. I think that, he recognized what it was, a horrible accident.
To honor the memory of River Phoenix, Johnny closed the Viper Room for a week. On Halloween night 1993, actor River Phoenix showed up at the club.
There was so much cocaine there, it's astronomical. It's 8 times what we consider lethal.
Anybody that's come on television must be an initiated witch. You can just check them off.
What kind of person would come from across the country and marry a known, convicted child killer?
We were getting ready to do an interview a while ago, and the first thing Johnny says is, when this is over, we've got to find a tattoo parlor. You know, it's one of those things. He didn't just support us while we were in prison. He's been with us every single step of the way since we've gotten out. He's become like a brother to me. He's become like a brother to me. And that's one of the things we always do, you know, just as part of that bond. Just as part of that bond is whenever you get tattoos like that, it's something that both of you carry with you through the rest of your life, and it's really meaningful. It's really meaningful.
Johnny Depp has a matching tattoo with another celebrity, Marilyn Manson. Marilyn has told us himself. He said, "Johnny Depp is like a brother to me. We have matching tattoos on our backs. It's a kind of secret. People say, 'Why did you get that?' And we say, 'No reason.'"
You see, the entertainers, they have these crosses. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ.
That's what our televisions have done to us. They've gotten us to a frame of mind that we do not realize the real world around us.
Did he tell you anything about demonic forces?
Yes, sir. He said that all people have a demonic force in them, and that a person would have no control over that demonic force.
Did you also tell him that each person had a demonic side to them?
I believe every person has a good side and a bad side, yes. He asked me, did I think there were some people that could not control that side? I said, yes, I guess there is.
Most of the time we didn't really set out to do anything in particular. We just started hanging around, and whatever happened just usually happened. Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Year-old Jesse Miskelly allegedly confesses to watching 2 other suspects choke, rape, and sexually mutilate 3 West Memphis second graders.
He said he saw Damien and Damien's best friend Jason abuse the 3 boys in a devil-worshipping ritual.
I saw Damien hit this one boy real bad. Then he started screwing him and stuff. He hit him with his fist and bruised him all up real bad. Jason turned around and hit Steve Branch.
Okay.
And started doing the same thing. Then the other one took off. Michael Moore took off running. So I chased him and grabbed him and held him till they got there, and then I left.
I kind of enjoy it because now, even after I die, people are going to remember me forever. They're going to talk about me for years. People in West Memphis will tell their kids stories. It'll be like, sort of like I'm the West Memphis boogeyman. Little kids will be looking under their bed before they go to bed. Damien might be under there.
They're cold-blooded murderers.
In your opinion, it doesn't add up that way for us.
In my opinion, and 24 jurors out of the state of Arkansas's opinion.
2 juries said they were guilty of it.
My name is John Douglas. I'm an FBI agent. Ran the behavioral science unit at Quantico 25 years.
The person responsible for this crime can look at you right in the eye, can look at a camera and say that I didn't do it, because he's a psychopathic personality. There is no remorse. Anyone who perpetrates a crime like this and leaves the victims like this in this condition, he's only concerned about himself. You can put him on the polygraph, he'll pass the polygraph, particularly if it's 14 years later.
I didn't kill these 3 little boys. I didn't have anything to do with it. I'm sorry that your kids are dead. I'm sorry about that.
In the beginning, we told nothing but the truth, that we were innocent. I told the truth that I'm innocent.
Was it true? No, it was not true. Did I run anybody down? No, I did not. I didn't kill nobody. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to be ashamed of.
On May the 5th, did you kill Michael Moore?
No, I did not.
On May the 5th, did you kill Stevie Branch?
No, I did not.
On May the 5th, did you kill Chris Byers?
No, I did not.
Have you ever participated in any type of human sacrifice?
No, I have not.
I think he's kind of been playing this part for so long that now he probably believes this part he's been playing himself. He's fooled himself into thinking it's true.
The person responsible for this crime can look at you right in the eye, can look at a camera and say that I didn't do it.
Give up my personality, give up my identity, just march along like everyone else. I'd rather die first.
Reverend Tommy Stacy's church is down the street from where the bodies were found. 1 year ago, Damian Eccles told the church's youth minister he had a pact with the devil and he was going to hell.
I do know that my youth director talked to Damien extensively after revival that we had, and he told him that he could not be saved, that he could not give his heart to Jesus. And my youth director then tried to get him to take a Bible, and he made the statement that he could not take a Bible because if he did, the rest of them would get him. The rest of them would get him.
People from school that doesn't even know him don't say that he was a devil worshiper and he didn't worship the devil and he's not in any cult.
At some point, did Damien invite you to some meeting?
He did. A cult, satanic meeting.
Okay.
I heard Damian Eccles say that he killed the 3 boys.
Where were you? Was he saying that to you, or what were you doing?
I was walking by with my friend. He said I killed the 3 little boys, and before I turn myself in, then I'm going to kill 2 more, and I already have 1 of them picked out.
I don't remember saying that at the time because to me, I didn't actually do it. So when it would have been like a joke.
I feel good so far. So far, to me, it looks like we've got it beat. I only know of 2 things that really hurt. That one kid getting up there for Jason, and those girls.
He says, it looks like you're just changing your story to fit whatever comes up. And you said, yeah.
I was just like halfway listening to him.
Also states that Damien stated that the younger the victim would be more innocent, and in turn more power would be given the person doing the killing.
Right.
Okay. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay, those are your words.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you pick that up when you were studying to be a Catholic?
No. I saw that on several movies, books.
Damien, Jesse, and Jason were found guilty in court proceedings that were, at the best of times, comical. We know they're guilty because one of them was reading a Stephen King novel.
The state had introduced the book Never on a Broomstick. Are you familiar with that particular book?
Yes, I am.
All right. Where did you get that book, Damien?
At the library in Crittenden County.
When witches write a book, they order a demon to go into every copy that comes off the press. So when you own a book on witchcraft, you have a demon residing in your home.
When I was a child, I loved magic. And I would say to myself, I'm going to be the greatest magician there's ever been. And I had no idea that that meant I would have 20 years to sit alone in a prison cell and practice and study.
We know they're guilty because one of them was reading a Stephen King novel.
You're familiar with a fellow named Aleister Crowley?
I know who he is. I know who he is.
And one of the names that you picked out to write about was this fellow named Aleister Crowley, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Crowley was doing everything to absolute excess, pushing yourself to the absolute limit so you know at least where your limits are. So if you're going to do something that's depraved, you do something which is extremely depraved that even you feel disgusted at, and then try to learn to enjoy it.
He also stated that the penis was a symbol of power in his religion, known as Wicca.
He told me how he dismembered the kid, he sucked the blood from the penis and the scrotum, and put the balls in his mouth.
Is it your opinion that these crimes were motivated by occult beliefs?
Yes. A lot of times they will take blood and store it for other services and other use, as well as consume it or bathe in it.
I wouldn't say I drank blood. A lick.
I'm very happy that all of you took time out of your lives to get it together, to amass for this wonderful event that raises money and consciousness and awareness, the West Memphis 3.
Anybody that come on television must be an initiated witch. You can just check them off.
I saw Damien hit this one boy real bad. And he started screwing him and stuff.
The same Bible that says sodomy is illegal in God's kingdom.
But it's so
that's
much,
the Bible.
But it's so much fun.
That's it. Doesn't matter.
It's a case so stunning, so controversial, it became a major cause celeb, with actors and musicians like Johnny Depp, the Dixie Chicks' Natalie Maines, and Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder.
I'm also here to show my support for the West Memphis 3.
The celebrities fighting for the teens' release claimed the kids were railroaded because of their mullets, dark clothes, and fascination with the occult.
In several occult books, they will talk about the life force of the blood. Usually the younger the individual, the more pure it is, the more power or the force it has.
These three animals worshiping the devil made a sacrifice of 3 babies to Satan to think that it would empower them to fly.
The celebrities fighting for the teens' release claimed the kids were railroaded because of their mullets, dark clothes, and fascination with the occult.
It makes me scared that, this could happen to any of us. The West Memphis 3.
They got accused of killing some kids.
Yeah. There was no evidence. There was nothing. It was ridiculous. It's open and shut. It's so ridiculous. It's mind-blowing.
You can just check them off. Those people belong to a witchcraft or Satanist brotherhood somewhere, or they wouldn't be there.
Damien, Jason, and Jesse had no motive whatsoever to kill these 3 boys, boys that they didn't even know. And so therefore the state went to the only motiveless theory.
You can just check them off.
The same Bible that says sodomy is illegal in God's kingdom.
But it's so
that's
much,
the Bible.
But it's so much fun.
That's it. Doesn't matter.
Are you an American?
Absolutely.
Okay. You're living in a country that is moving past your point of view at an amazing rate of speed.
So you have to understand that this is an accusation against lifestyle.
Give up my personality, give up my identity. I'd rather die.
It's so much fun.
That's it. Doesn't matter.
Against literacy. And if that is to be the case, if Americans should be in fear of what they're reading.
You're familiar with a fellow named Aleister Crowley?
I know who he is.
He also had writings that indicated that children were the best type of human sacrifice, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or how they're dressing, or what they're listening to, you have to understand that the First Amendment was indeed assaulted.
Sometimes I wonder why they could be so dumb that they're doing exactly what is going to lead to their destruction. But then that's usually how the devil is. He keeps everything in darkness.
Why did the subject decide to tie up the victims after stripping them down naked? I believe the initial intent in my analysis was not to kill, but was to taunt and to punish these individuals.
Whose names are written on that document?
Mine Jason's, my son's, one that says Aleister Crowley, and...
Wait, who?
Aleister Crowley.
Now, this is a document that you've written while you've been waiting in jail for trial, right?
If you say so.
Damien, Jason, and Jesse had no motive whatsoever to kill these three boys. You know, boys that they didn't even know. And so therefore the state went to the only motiveless theory.
The only other name on this document, besides yourself, your best friend, and your son, is Aleister Crowley, correct?
Yes, sir.
Crowley taught that the way you could live forever was by vampirizing little children sexually through tantric sex magic. This is a deception. Satan is deceiving these people to draw them into all kinds of profound evil. Why is Satan doing this? Satan loves to defile innocence. And of course, a child is always innocent.
For 17-year-old Jesse Miskelly allegedly confesses to watching two other suspects choke, rape, and sexually mutilate three West Memphis second graders.
What, if anything, did he tell you?
He had told us that he had attended some satanic cult-type meetings that boys, along with girls, would attend. There would be sessions of sex, orgies, as he called them. Dogs and animals had been killed, and portions of them have been eaten by the members.
Tell me some of the things y'all do being in this cult.
We go out and kill dogs and stuff.
They prayed to Satan, and they prayed to the devil, and they had their satanic worship services out here, and they had all types of wild homosexual orgies, I've been told. Crazy things.
See, the lower witches believe that the power for witchcraft comes from orgies and sex. The higher witches believe it's attained by human blood.
Rock musicians get their music while on drugs or from spirit guides, which are demons.
In rock music, you must be an initiated witch, a coven member. That means you're a minister.
Eddie Vedder used to come and see me at the prison. He would come to death row and visit there, so he was there all the time. And,
I got involved in the case thinking that there was maybe some way I could make a difference. And at one point, I had to look him in the eye and ask him straight ahead, and I was completely satisfied with his answer, and I was completely satisfied with his answer. And now, with conviction, we can say that, without a doubt, these young men don't deserve to be there and don't deserve to be there.
Natalie Maines, what got you involved?
Same as Eddie.
You can just check them off. Those people belong to a witchcraft or Satanist brotherhood somewhere, or they wouldn't be there.
You see, the entertainers, they have these crosses. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ.
I always thought they were kind of weird because they kept talking about controlling the world. And I thought, let's stay back with witchcraft, this world government thing. Witches are never going to control the world.
The names read like an Oscar party guest list. Actors Johnny Depp, Jack Black, singers Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, Natalie Maines of the Dixie Chicks.
Hi, I'm Natalie Maines, and I support the West Memphis 3.
They are all supporting the West Memphis 3.
Learn about the new evidence that exonerates them.
Crowley taught that by accessing alternate universes through sodomy, especially of young boys, you can use that energy through this child to live forever. This is a deception. Satan is deceiving these people to draw them into all kinds of profound evil. Now, the only way you can get around this is if you put your faith in Jesus Christ, and that's what happened to me. I mean, Jesus can stop this process.
They believe the three teens were persecuted for being different, wearing black, listening to heavy metal music, reading books on witchcraft. Reading books on witchcraft.
You can't believe that anybody's going to take that kind of stuff seriously when you're going through it, but evidently they did.
I'm here because I firmly, truly, 1000% believe Damien Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly are
all initiates of the satanic doctrine
do all things backwards.
His first major film role, Crybaby, director John Waters' spoof of teen rebellion movies. Waters' films often featured transvestites and set new standards in bad taste. He was Johnny's kind of guy.
Can you think of a better drag queen than Johnny Depp?
Even Johnny's friends and former co-stars were amazed, even confused by this performance.
It's as though he spent his career playing transvestites.
He looked great. I mean, he really looked great in that underwear. I mean, it was just, you know, shooting, going up his back and his hair.
The most feasible ways is to please the spirits, is to deride Christ and his people. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ.
Johnny was doing 2 other movies at the same time, but he showed up in the middle of all that, and he wouldn't let me pay for anything either. I mean, he worked for free, and he said, just put it on the screen.
Now, you don't go to hell because you
dress in women's clothing.
You go to hell because you haven't accepted Jesus Christ.
Do you have faith? I have faith in my kids. Me too. Yeah, faith in terms of religion, religion is not my specialty.
All initiates of the Satanic doctrine do all things backwards.
His first major film role, Crybaby, director John Waters' spoof of teen rebellion movies. Waters' films often featured transvestites and set new standards in bad taste. He was Johnny's kind of guy.
Can you think of a better drag queen than Johnny Depp?
Even Johnny's friends and former co-stars were amazed, even confused by this performance.
It's as though he spent his career playing transvestites.
He looked great. I mean, he really looked great in that underwear. I mean, it was just, you know, shooting, going up his back and his hair.
The most feasible ways is to please the spirits, is to deride Christ and his people. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ.
Johnny was doing 2 other movies at the same time, but he showed up in the middle of all that, and he wouldn't let me pay for anything either. I mean, he worked for free, and he said, just put it on the screen.
You go to hell because you haven't accepted Jesus Christ.
Depp met 17-year-old actress Winona Ryder at a Hollywood movie premiere. Johnny was struck by her beauty, her intelligence, and her bohemian spirit. Johnny proposed to Winona after 5 months of dating. He proved his devotion with another tattoo. Winona forever.
It's a case so stunning, so controversial, it became a major cause celeb, with actors and musicians like Johnny Depp.
Actress Winona Ryder, Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, and the Dixie Chicks.
They are all supporting the West Memphis 3.
You can just check them off. I was born into a witchcraft family. When the kids were coming to Sunday school and when they were learning how to pray, I was learning how to light candles and incense and cast spells. When you were learning the 23rd Psalm, I was learning the witch's chant.
They brainwash you from very early childhood.
Winona's parents were close friends with Allen Ginsberg, one of the beat poets Johnny idolized. He was sure he'd found his soulmate.
then we went to his place, and he asked me up for a tea. Went up and had a tea, and we sat there and spoke about Kerouac. He was great.
Winona's parents were close friends with Allen Ginsberg, one of the beat poets Johnny idolized.
Moloch, in whom I am a consciousness without a body. Moloch, who burns down the love of the world. Woke up in Moloch. Moloch, Moloch.
Crowley taught that the way you could live forever was by vampirizing little children sexually. Satan is deceiving these people to draw them into all kinds of profound evil. The question is, why is Satan doing this? Satan loves to defile innocence. And of course, a child is always innocent.
You're familiar with a fellow named Aleister Crowley?
I know who he is.
And all of this can be laid at the door of this occult monstrosity. I mean, this is spreading throughout the world like a plague. We have organizations like NAMBLA. Their slogan is sex before 8 or it's too late.
Winona's parents were close friends with Allen Ginsberg, one of the beat poets Johnny idolized.
They're hiding behind the First Amendment. Ostensibly, they claim that they are designed to abolish age of consent laws. I was in the organization for 3 years. Every conversation that I had was about where to go to have sex with little boys, how they could attract little boys, how they could groom little boys. That was their agenda.
Well, I've been an admirer of Aleister Crowley. I think that I'm carrying on much of the work that he started over 100 years ago, and I think the 60s themselves. You know, Crowley said, do what thou wilt. I'm sorry he isn't around now to appreciate the glories that he started.
In witchcraft, the children are the property of the craft and not of the parents. They are raised by all the witches in the craft. From the moment the child is 5 years old, he's considered an adult, and he's treated like an adult. As they do these things, they break down all the barriers holding the devil back. And just literally, they become a human chalice. They fill up with demons.
Johnny brought wit and pathos to Edward Scissorhands, which also starred Depp's real-life fiancée, Winona Ryder. His 3-year relationship with Winona Ryder crumbled under the weight of the high-powered careers that kept them apart and unrelenting press scrutiny.
They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't do anything without speculation on who was cheating on who and who was seeing who. And
Johnny found an outlet for his pain.
Film star River Phoenix died early today outside a popular West Hollywood nightclub.
Anybody that come on television must be an initiated witch. You can just check them off. Those people belong to a witchcraft or Satanist brotherhood somewhere, or they wouldn't be there.
All initiates of the Satanic doctrine do all things backwards.
I prayed for the death of Heather Chandler many times. Now I know you understood everything. Praise Jesus. Hallelujah.
Monday morning, your history. I'll tell everyone about tonight.
Let me dream of a world without Heather. Killing Heather'd be like offing the Wicked Witch of the West.
Heather Chandler is one that deserves to die.
We'll kill her. She would never drink anything that looked like that.
So we'll, put it in this. She won't be able to see what she's drinking.
Let me get a cup.
Never mind, I'll carry the cup. Veronica and you'd have a hangover, so, I whipped this up for you. It's a family recipe. I knew this stuff would be too intense for her.
You think I'll drink it just because you call me chicken? Just give me the cup, jerk.
Oh, my God. I just killed my best friend.
And your worst enemy.
Same difference.
What are we gonna tell the cops? All right, we did a murder, and that's a crime. But, if this were like a suicide thing, you know?
Like a suicide thing?
Yeah.
You've done this before?
I heard ghosts on the whole record, and I'd always say, "Don't you hear those ghosts? Listen." And Flea would go, "John, not everybody hears them. Just we hear them."
Get the little spooky picture. There are a fallen angel, an unclean spirit.
Rock musicians get their music from spirit guides, which are demons.
It'll be hard for me and you to talk about theory since neither of us know a damn thing about it.
Right, which is why it's good that I should be interviewing you on this occasion.
Yeah, but see, we know about a lot more other cosmic things that are floating around in the universe and in this very room today, things that are circling around that hopefully we'll be able to be vehicles for these things and let them come pouring through our nostrils.
Johnny opened his own club, the Viper Room.
On Halloween night, 1993, actor River Phoenix showed up at the club.
There was so much cocaine there, it's astronomical.
While Johnny played with his band on stage. Moments later, Phoenix walked outside onto Sunset Boulevard. He collapsed on the sidewalk and died.
Everybody dies. I don't think it's that big of a deal. For instance, in River's case, I think it's more of a shame that he was born than he died. Because he didn't like this life, he didn't like this place, and he's in a better place now. You know, and that's the way, I don't think that death is a big deal.
On Halloween night, 1993, actor River Phoenix showed up at the club.
The devil always thinks on himself.
It's a movie made by Johnny Depp, featuring a cameo by John Frusciante and Timothy Leary, and it's called Stuff. And here it is. Da-da-da-da-da.
Marilyn has told us himself. He said, Johnny Depp is like a brother to me. We have matching tattoos on our backs. It's a kind of secret. People say, why did you get that? And we say, no reason. Well, we now know.
That's one of the things we always do, you know, just as part of that bond, is whenever you get tattoos like that, it's something that both of you carry with you through the rest of your life, and it's really meaningful.
You mark the moment, you celebrate the moment, you know. That means quite a lot to me.
Is it like a tribal thing, or?
Sort of. It's,
probably, yeah. You know.
Yeah, you could say that.
The edge. There is no honest way to explain it, because the only people who really know where it is are the ones who have gone over.
Another amazing man in Johnny's life, Hunter S. Thompson. Johnny became friends with Thompson before he filmed Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It was a friendship that endured for years.
Your doctor is what? What area, what discipline are you a doctor in of?
Hunter got his doctorate degree from the Universal Life Church.
You can just check them off.
This will be the first, I believe, same-sex wedding ever performed on late-night television. Best of all, I am going to officiate the wedding myself. By the power vested in me by the state of New York and the Universal Life Church Monastery. And the Universal Life Church Monastery.
Yeah, the guys must have kind of some dark sense of humor, keeping him around this long.
So explain to the uninitiated who Hunter Thompson was.
That's the one thing I fear is dying. I don't believe I'm going anywhere.
You don't?
Do not believe in a higher power looking down on me.
You can just check them off.
They don't want to admit God created the world because that means there's a coming judgment. They don't like that idea. But there's one coming whether you like it or not.
So explain to the uninitiated, who Hunter Thompson was.
Hunter and I, it was when I was researching Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and I was living in his basement, you know, and I happened upon this box as we were looking through the manuscript of Fear and Loathing. He used to call me Colonel Depp. You know, he said, Colonel, we must produce this. We'll produce this together. So that was the plan.
Could you relax with him?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Tell us about the first time you ever met him.
There was a sort of scheduled meeting. It was about midnight. I was sitting in the back of this bar, and suddenly the front door opened, and I saw sparks, these hideous sparks that were kind of everywhere. And then I realized as he came closer, the sea was parting, people jumping and diving and hurling themselves to safety. I realized that he had a 3-foot cattle prod in his left hand and a taser in his right. And then I heard, out of the way, you bastards! And then we shook hands, and then we went back to his house and built a bomb. I shot it with a shotgun.
And it went off?
Yeah, 80-foot fireball, yeah, huge.
He loved explosions. He loved blowing stuff up. We did this thing, Breakfast with Hunter, where, and he was in town, so I went to, Johnny Depp and I went to go see him, and we picked him up in some car, and he had some inflatable blow-up doll that he was calling Ling Ling. And we drove around Hollywood before he went to this reading, and he kept beating the doll. And then he would take her out into the street and say, you and he would just be punching this blow-up doll on the street, and you see these cars swerving. And I mean, he was just always ready for a show that was beyond any sense of kind of decency and went into some absurdist land that made your head spin.
You can just check them off.
Tell us about the first time you ever met him.
There was a sort of scheduled meeting.
So when I first met him, first thing he had me do was steal Don Henley's car. So right off the bat, when I got there, it was Grand Theft Auto. I mean, right off the bat. Then we went there, and he said, do you drink? Do you shoot? And I said, yeah, sure. He goes, well, I've got some things to attend to, you know, hideous rape case, affidavit, I've got to, you know, hideous rape case, affidavit, I've got to but do you golf? Sure. So he put me out and gave me some whiskey, a shotgun, and if you could blow the golf ball out of the sky, then, you know, that was fair. So it was kind of a pitch and putt with shotguns. So that was just immediately. And then as we went on in the evening, we went out to Woody Creek. And there were all these tests to see if you, you know, if you had the right stuff that he would give you.
So see, every level you go to, they tell you a different story. And so every step you go up the ladder, everything you've been told before is a lie, and all of a sudden you learn new truth.
It was kind of the Hunter Thompson before he found his voice, before he found the avenue for the rage, you know.
He was, without question, I mean, I think the most important non-fiction writer of the 20th century. He reinvented a style of writing by putting himself into the situation, by living it.
What is a typical day like for you out there? You still have a home in Colorado, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do out there? What kind of things going on for you?
I like to kill.
And when you say kill, you're talking about what, neighbors? What?
We don't want to talk about shooting people, do we?
No.
We don't want to talk about shooting people, do we?
No, but you're teasing when you say you like to kill, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not teasing. No, I used to like to kill. I was hunting because I like to kill.
Yeah.
I wish I brought the damn gun.
Uh-huh.
State of the art killing machine.
Killing machine, yeah.
Well, we don't really care. Those guns are killing machines.
Yeah.
I don't have to use them like that, but it's comforting to know that you can kill.
All right, enough of that.
Hunter S. Thompson, a friend of yours.
Later in life, just kind of veered off, you know, a little. In terms
Demons.
Of
Do you have faith? Faith in terms of religion, I don't. Religion is not my specialty. You know.
Savior.
And if Washington doesn't have enough to talk about these days, the Washington Times reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call boy ring.
Aside from the fact that you had sex with some of these politicians, at some of these parties, did you recognize any prominent senators or congressmen or anybody?
I seen at the time Vice President Bush go in and all he did was the kids performed oral sex on him. That was it.
Kids what?
Performed oral sex on him. And
the kid performed oral. Which of the black kid or the white kid?
Both. Well, when
Vice President Bush came in, two separate parties. Once with a white kid, once with a black kid. Yeah. So you saw him twice.
Yeah.
And the kid had to perform oral sex on him.
The illumination of 1,000 points of light, and it is expressed by all who know the irresistible force of a child's hand, the irresistible force of a child's hand, of a friend who stands by you and stays there, a volunteer's generous gesture.
After the party was over, the ones that were involved with him, or the ones that he was trying to get political favors from, that wanted whatever they wanted, they would stay or they'd come in after the party was over, or the next day. See, so at the party, nothing even abnormal. I mean, if somebody was in there and stuff, they'd see no abnormal activities going on, so they would, honestly be able to say that. I've been to parties, but I've never seen anything, so.
I went to work for somebody in good faith.
Yeah.
And ended up seeing way more than I ever wanted to or dreamed of.
So Hunter Thompson approached you about doing a snuff film?
Yep.
Okay.
He offered me $100,000 to shoot a snuff film, and I wouldn't do it. I did say snuff film. That's where they would actually kill somebody.
Okay.
And have it on film. They would sell the tape to these wealthy business people for tremendous amounts of money.
You ask me how I live and how I pay for my drugs and my whiskey? Well, that's how I do it.
Losing Hunter took me down because you know that these friends, these mentors, these teachers, these father figures, it was amazing to be accepted by them and to be loved by them.
There were all these tests to see if you had the right stuff that he would give you.
This is so bizarre that nobody will ever believe you if you told them. Who do you go tell?
Right.
Because, you see the chief of police taking money. He's rubbing elbows with all these powerful people.
The sheriff was there, and he came in, and he looked like he was some mongrel motorcycle outlaw, about 6'6". Came in, said, "Who the are you?" I said, "I'm Johnny. Who are you?" And he goes, "Well done." So there's all these little tests.
And when he died, you blew his ashes.
What Hunter wanted was to be blown out of a 150-foot cannon and shot into the stratosphere. I think he knew that I was the only one stupid enough to make that happen, and I did.
He came down all over all of us. We were covered in Hunter's ashes. But the idea also is to take Hunter, his ashes, and then mix that in with gunpowder. There was something so poetic about that, something so kind of symmetrical about Hunter becoming basically large bullets.
Hunter S. Thompson put himself inside the story and lived it. He's as original as Ginsberg or Bob Dylan. He's, for me, one of the great heroes. He's as original as Ginsberg or Bob Dylan.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
With the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
You all remember Roxanne Pulitzer?
Hunter and I had a very odd first meeting.
I went over to Roxanne's house. Yeah, we abused a lot of substances.
But anyway, this is what Hunter wrote about himself when he was in Palm Beach. Cruising the beach at dawn in a red Chrysler convertible. 2 beautiful lesbians in the front seat beside me. We're on our way to an orgy in a mansion not far from the sea.
This mansion where people worshipped the demons. What was it like there?
We're on our way to an orgy because I feel a bond with these people that runs deeper and stronger than mere money and orgies and drugs and witchcraft and lesbians and whiskeys. Bestiality is the key to it, I think. I have always loved animals. They are different from us. And their brains are not complex, but their hearts are pure. And there is usually no fat on their bodies, and they will never call the police on you, or take you in front of a judge, or run off and hide your money. Just remember, animals do not hire lawyers. Yes, Hunter, we love you.
Initiation of witchcraft, blood sacrifice.
I studied for 6 more months and then taken up to Colorado Springs and initiated. And I do believe that when I testified here the last time, I explained who the person was that handed me the ceremonial knife for that ceremony. Another senator named George McGovern. You might, before the night gets over, start to realize that Washington isn't bad as you thought it was. It's worse. The ceremony, by the way, was human sacrifice, and the leader of that ceremony that night was George McGovern. That's why when we did the broken cross, we drew his picture into the broken cross as a person practicing human sacrifice. I asked my real mother, I have 2 mothers, foster mother and a real mother, I said, what type of spell is so good that it makes senators and generals do what you want? She said, we didn't cast a spell on them, they're with us. I said, oh, far out, senators that are witches. She says, no, they just belong to us.
You understand what Moses was saying? Before he died, he said, there's going to rise up new generations of children who know nothing of the fear of God. They'll have no motivation whatsoever to obey me and walk in holiness. Isn't that what's happening right now?
I wouldn't say I drank blood. A lick.
Junior high school kids can come to the conclusion that we're innocent.
How in the world can they sentence this guy to death with what they have, which is nothing?
I saw Damien hit this one boy real bad, and he started screwing him and stuff.
People seem to be reaching their decisions, even the jury, because of things like emotions and prejudice.
No one had actually looked at evidence and put together a scenario that made sense.
They don't have a clue what I am, what I'm about. They wouldn't understand me if they did know me.
You studied the satanic side of the occult, right?
I'm familiar with about every aspect of it.
These three worshiping the devil made a sacrifice to Satan to think that it would empower them to fly.
Damien, he had a book that he wrote in. A lot of death, he talked about dead children.
Thirsty for blood and the terror of mortal men, look favorably on my sacrifice.
If you disregard the state's satanic ritual theory, the entire nature of the crime changes.
It just made me so mad that a modern-day witch trial was being allowed to occur in America. It is a case where someone is in prison right now because of prejudice.
Everybody in the town and in the courtroom and on the jury are all blinded by their fantasies about satanic cults.
Then you start hearing all these, people whispering about maybe it was Satanists that did this.
That theory did not seem so far-fetched back then. A media-fueled hysteria about satanic cults was sweeping across the
wooded area.
Police say Satanists in our area often conduct their rituals in remote wooded areas.
They say, oh, this is all nonsense. And I feel like, knocking on their heads and asking if there's anybody home up there. It's done in secret.
Conspiracy to control the world by a secret society called the Trilateral Commission.
Freemasons. It is a secret society.
When you get into a secret society of spirit worshippers.
Yale's legendary secret society.
The thing is so secret, I'm not even sure it still exists.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret.
So secret we can't talk about.
This rogue criminal enterprise operating within the confines of the U.S. government. It was after that I started researching and went back and found out about the Illuminati. Illuminati/Satanism. The satanic cults operate secretly.
We were young, there were lots of kind of big secret lesbian parties. Nobody was out, right? So it would be like Melissa Etheridge would throw a party and KD would be there and I would be there and Ellen would be there.
One of the most powerful witches in the United States is on television.
All initiates of the satanic doctrine do all things backwards.
I get a lot of people quoting from the Bible to me. I don't know why, but a lot of people quote the Bible to me.
They watch them, and these are nice, clean-cut figures, but it's not so.
2,500 children are kidnapped and murdered in this country every year. That's an unbelievable figure. Yet, the FBI refuses to investigate it. The FBI refuses to investigate it. We have in this country today a covert government enterprise, primarily by U.S. military intelligence, that is operating full throttle, and everybody refuses to investigate it. Everybody refuses to investigate it.
My name is John Douglas. I'm an FBI agent. Ran the behavioral science unit at Quantico 25 years.
In the early 1970s and 80s, we began to see at the FBI Academy police officers coming in from around the world. And the cops were kind of throwing around words like ritual and using it interchangeably with satanic crimes. We did a close evaluation. We didn't see one. We didn't see one case.
In the Nebraska case, it's called the Franklin cover-up. They were taking children out of foster homes, orphanages, and flying them to Washington, D.C. for sex orgies with prominent people, including congressmen, senators, and certain people in the White House.
I seen the time Vice President Bush go in and the kids perform oral sex on him. That was it.
Two separate parties. Once with a white kid, once with a black kid. Yeah. You saw him twice.
Yeah.
The illumination of 1,000 points of light, and it is expressed by all who know the irresistible force of a child's hand.
They call the boys toys. I don't know what they call the girls. The men are more interested in the little boys than they are the girls for some reason.
Crowley taught that the way you could live forever was through sodomy, especially of young boys.
You're familiar with a fellow named Aleister Crowley?
I know who he is.
The Washington Times reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call boy ring.
It's called the Franklin Cover-Up. This is the book here that Johnny Camp wrote, by the way. It's all documented in there.
You literally have to have bricks for brains to take on the FBI in this country. And that's exactly what you'd have to do this properly. They now, in my opinion, in my investigation, are the architects of the cover-up.
Satanic crimes. We did a close evaluation. We didn't see one. We didn't see one case.
The key evidence? A statement that Jesse Misskelley gave them. In it, he said he saw Damien and Damien's best friend Jason abuse the three boys in a devil-worshipping ritual. And then Jesse implicated himself by saying he chased down a boy who ran away.
One of the things that I guess a lot of people can't get over is one of the three defendants, all three were convicted, Jesse Misskelley confessed. How do you account for that?
Finally, I just said something where they'd just leave me alone. Finally, I told them, you know, I chased them and everything and caught them and brought them back. But none of that happened. You can't kill nobody and don't leave no evidence. You can't do it. There was no blood, no fingerprints, no nothing at the crime scene. You just can't kill nobody like that.
The evidence was that this murder had the trappings of an occult murder, a satanic murder. When you take the crime scene, the injuries to these kids, the testimony about sucking of blood, and there's a transference of power from drinking of blood.
Now, once I became involved in the case, I had to read everything, and I learned that evidence was lost, evidence was stolen, evidence was altered. An FBI agent, Paul Stombaugh, lied before the grand jury.
What is most shocking about this case is how little evidence there is. There is no physical evidence, none, that ties the convicted men to the crime scene. They now have some DNA. That new DNA does not connect to any of the three convicted men.
We have been operated and orchestrated primarily by U.S. military intelligence, covert criminal enterprise involving the FBI and the CIA, active in this country today. It's being covered up. They're using FBI informants to set up and frame people through sex and drugs.
The centerpiece of the entire web is the use of children for sex, the compromising of politicians, the compromising of businessmen, but worst of all, the corruption of key institutions of government that have the duty and responsibility to make sure these things never happen. Rigging grand juries, harassment of witnesses, incitement to perjury, and tampering with evidence, federal personnel were seen to apply all those techniques in the Franklin case.
You know, even in the last 4 years, now we've really got more evidence. With conviction, we can say that without a doubt, these young men don't deserve to be there.
New attorneys forced the state to perform DNA tests not available in 1993 on hair from the victims. The findings are dramatic. None of it is a match to the imprisoned West Memphis 3. And in fact, the DNA points in a different direction.
If you can control about 3 or 4 key elements, you can totally own a state. You can make right wrong. You can make truth falsehood, falsehood truth.
You're uncomfortable talking about what actually transpired in that investigation. Why is that?
There is a wealth of money supporting the West Memphis 3.
If you control the media,
Everybody in the town and in the courtroom and on the jury are all blinded by their fantasies about satanic cults.
So explain to the uninitiated who Hunter Thompson was.
If you control the Justice Department, if you control the police.
She said, we didn't cast a spell on them. They just belong to us.
I saw criminal sophistication at the crime scene. The tying of the wrists to the ankles. I searched cases all over the world. I couldn't come up with similar types of cases. We're not looking at teenagers committing crimes like this. We're looking at somebody who's relatively criminally sophisticated.
As far as we could see, the best person to get would be John Douglas, who was there at the creation of the FBI Behavioral Science Unit.
When I was in the Bureau, we came up with a crime classification manual we designed. We considered satanic because these cops were bringing back these cases to us. Satanic murder, satanic murder. This is not a satanic. This is not the ritual. It's a murder. It's a murder maybe by one crazy guy. But if you call this satanic, we could just have just as many murders where a Bible is left there. Does that make it a Christian murder? It's a Bible? I mean, no, it's nuts. It's just one crazy.
The sheriff was the first one on the scene. He saw the pictures. He started picking up the pictures. An FBI agent came along, took the pictures away from him, told him to keep his mouth shut. He started talking to a few people. A year later, his wife was murdered. He's no longer talking. They called on Michael, and we want you to testify. Michael received a threatening phone call 2 weeks before he was to testify. U.S. Department of Justice, if you testify, you'll be sorry. Michael testified anyway. A few weeks later, was arrested for drugs, is now serving a 30-year prison sentence. And many of them have been set up and framed through sex and drugs.
Every victim witness who stepped forward in any way, or even was a potential witness that somebody heard about, has either been killed, put in jail under some theory or other, terrified or run out of the state, discredited.
He told me how he dismembered the kid. He sucked the blood from the penis and the scrotum and put the balls in his mouth.
I'm a drug addict. I was doing a lot of inhalants, LSD. I was huffing gas all the time. It's bad. It takes your whole perspective on life and makes it a dream. And they knew that. They knew the drugs that I was doing. I remember not knowing why I was doing what I was doing. I would have this massive illusion in my head and swear to God it was real.
At some point, did Damien invite you to some meeting?
He did. A cult satanic meeting.
Okay.
Damien and I stood back, and then these kids took their clothes off, and I looked at Damien. I said, I want to leave. I was just a big liar, and I really was just a big liar. I testified to it, but I lied on the stand.
They're cold-blooded murderers. In my opinion, and 24 jurors out of the state of Arkansas's opinion. These three worshiping the devil made a sacrifice to Satan.
What point did you become convinced that the convicted killers of your son were in fact not guilty in your view?
The summer of 2007, after a meeting with Mr. John Douglas, who is a retired FBI profiler.
And then suddenly the evidence in your mind didn't add up.
Here's a world-renowned, 30-year, probably the finest profiler in FBI history. I was nervous just being around him, thinking he's profiling me. The people that brought into the propaganda that the West Memphis Police Department and the media put forth, devil worshippers, they got on that bandwagon and everybody jumped on board, and it was hysteria.
You jumped on that bandwagon.
This is not right, and the people of Arkansas need to stand up and raise hell, because 3 innocent men are going to have to claim today that they're guilty for a crime they didn't know, and that's they're innocent. They did not kill my son. And This is wrong, what the state of Arkansas is doing to cover their...
Amen.
And I'm sick of it.
Amen.
What'd you think of Byers?
I'm sitting here on death row for a crime that he committed. He killed 3 little kids. He is the person who killed those 3 children.
Well, I was asked by a reporter if I was a member of Damien's cult.
Me too.
I'm standing there wearing a suit. I thought I was dressed like a guy, like a normal person.
Because the real killer is walking around free. When John Douglas told me that Terry Hobbs' record and background made me look like a Boy Scout, I almost fell out. The pros and cons of Terry Hobbs. 2 items that would be on the innocent side that he needed to try to restrain 3 victims. Some say that might be a little difficult. Not really. Once he hit one child, the other 2 probably froze like a deer in headlights.
Jesse implicated himself by saying he chased down a boy who ran away.
Michael Moore took off running, so I chased him and grabbed him and held him till they got there, and then I left.
The FBI was protecting something a lot more significant than a bunch of old pedophiles. They were protecting some very prominent politicians, some very powerful and wealthy individuals associated with those politicians and the political system, up to and including the highest political people in this entire country. Every perpetrator, even the convicted ones, have been treated as conquering heroes.
I say we give these guys a round of applause while we're...
Woo!
Someone should make a movie about it. Coming out in 3 weeks.
I can tell you that I've been so proud to represent Jason. I am prouder to be his friend, just the nobility and the honor of what he did here today.
He's a hero. He's a hero.
Thank you.
Mr. Braga.
The names read like an Oscar party guest list. Actors Johnny Depp, Jack Black, singers Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, Natalie Maines of the Dixie Chicks. They are all supporting the West Memphis 3.
You start focusing in another particular religion.
Wicca.
Wicca.
It acknowledges a goddess in a higher regard as a god, because people have always said we are all God's children, and men.
Wiccans don't believe in the devil, okay? The devil is a Christian deity.
Wicca is also called witchcraft. It's basically like a close involvement with nature.
He looked into a little bit of Wicca, but he never went to it. And I think if people looked into what Wicca is, they would understand it a little better. The only thing Wiccans do is worship the earth.
The 3 devil-worshipping kids were guilty.
Whenever you get tattoos like that, it's something that both of you carry with you through the rest of your life, and it's really meaningful.
You mark the moment, you celebrate the moment, you know. That means quite a lot to me. You know. To the little ones, to the babies, yeah. Today is a gift. Have fun. Just have fun. Thanks.
Johnny, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Wow.